issue we have. Let me know if the
Gotcha.
sound levels are good. My name is Ernest Jones. I am a CPA who helps broadcasters, game developers, and anyone who needs help with their taxes. And my two guests today, when they're not busy disintegrating Jawas just because they're trying to make a living in this world, is Noah Downs and McLaffyTaffy. Go ahead and give me some intros.
Hey, my name is Noah Downs, and do we still have an echo? Sounds good. But hi, my name is Noah Downs. I'm a lawyer. I'm not yet your lawyer, so everything I'm going to say today is if for informational purposes only. Just getting my disclaimer out of the way ahead of time. You're all incredible. Thank you for being here, and I will be talking about the legal side of FTC stuff.
Give them legal advice, you coward.
I can't give them legal advice until they hire me.
Pansy. My name's Taffy. I play video games for strangers on the internet, and I'm staring at a plate of Chinese food that is my incentive to get from point A to point Z today. So I want to give you guys a real entertaining show about, I'm reading the title, sponsorships and FTC guidelines, and then I want to follow that up with Panda Express.
So my one question, as we take this from the jump, Noah, is does he have to disclose that he is sponsored to be here, actually?
He does not, because he is definitely not paid.
But he got a gift. He got food.
He
from
did
a
get
viewer,
food.
not from somebody who's involved with this show.
Oh,
yeah. If it is a gift, you do not have to disclose it.
I told Noah that he had to pay me in gum. He had to pay me in Panda Express, and he flubbed it, and a viewer picked up the slack.
Well, if anything we've learned about this is that Noah is not your lawyer and he flubs things. So let's get into it. So what's the FTC?
So the FTC is the Federal Trade Commission, and so the FTC basically is God when it comes to what we do for a living here. They make all the guidelines for disclosures and if there's transactions between companies and broadcasters, and basically they're there to protect the viewers, the consumers of the content. So obviously I'm limiting what we talk about today to broadcasting and to YouTube and to content creation. But they do take care of the consumer, of the viewer, of everybody in chat right now. So they set those rules so that, for example, you don't have somebody who says, hey, I'm endorsing this product, and then they directly benefit from that endorsement but don't tell you. And the reason is because there would be a potential ethical conflict of interest issue there.
And part of it is what spurred this topic for the show today is that I want to say about the start of November, the FTC kind of updated and repinned the tweet that hey, these are our guidelines if you're an influencer and what you have to do and what your requirements are when it comes to sponsored activity.
Right, yeah, and so what happened, and you can go and view those guidelines right now at ftc.gov/influencer.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
you actually put influencer on there, huh?
I believe it's either influencer or influencers.
And I've linked in the chat the actual PDF as well.
Right, you can go view it. And so before they had this really difficult flowchart, and it was a nice infographic if you were actually a lawyer like me, and had some training on how to interpret it. But for the average layperson, somebody like for example, Ryan, here, if Taffy read it, he probably wouldn't understand it, and so he would have to hire a really good lawyer like myself. And he would be able to understand it then. However, they've made it really, really easy and simple to understand. And they use small words so that Taffy doesn't have to worry about it.
I'm going to just defer to Taffy here to just get in any shots, even if they aren't in context. So feel free.
I'm taking the high road. I'm taking the high road and just going to say, first of all, I want to ask the same question that Urza points out. Is this document as a direct relation to the whole CSGO Lotto debacle, or was this something that they were working on after the fact, or?
So unfortunately, I can't comment on the CSGO Lotto debacle because I represent one of the parties. However, this has been something that's been generated since the whole CSGO Lotto. And
also
Ryan, would you care?
The Kardashian thing, right? Because they all got slapped on the wrist for something that they did, right, Noah?
Yes, they did. So basically, if you own an interest in something, then you have to disclose that. If you're receiving a benefit, then you have to disclose that. And so what these guidelines get into is basically social media influencers 101. How do you and when do you disclose? What are the requirements, etc.?
And the reason it's important, and Noah hit on it, is that the idea is that if you are talking to an audience, right, the idea that you have it flagged that this is advertised content, this is SpawnCon, will be perceived differently by your audience. And so you're not just saying like, this is fantastic, right? And with that comes a lot of restrictions with it, because essentially the FTC polices and controls what and how things are advertised, right?
Right, exactly.
So, Taffy, could you bring this to the creator side and talk about, what are examples of actual advertised content? Like, what is that? What have you done?
I thought you were gonna say like dumpster fires that brought this to the forefront. But yeah, man, I'll do, because I got both. I've
Actually,
man.
Taffy, you can actually talk about the CS:GO Lotto where I can't. So
I mean, okay, so I don't want to necessarily like Wikipedia people, but like an example of sponsored content would be just this week. I was compensated with currency to play Rune 2, and you have to make sure that everybody knows that you're directly financially benefiting from taking the time to play Rune 2. It was fun. I had a good time. Got to mess around with friends on a video game that I was interested in seeing again anyway, but it doesn't change the fact that I had to let people know that I took money to put that content on my channel. The dumpster fires, I've been like close enough to ground zero. So back in the day when Minecraft hit its momentum, I was surrounded by a bunch of people that took a bunch of money to go play on Minecraft servers back before Mojang sold to Microsoft. And so you had all these bastardized offshoot Minecraft server hubs that set up. And I don't want to like point fingers at anyone, but I've got a stack of paperwork of invoices this thick of me getting money for Minecraft players that they took hundreds and then in some cases thousands of dollars to go play on these servers, and nobody said anything and nobody declared because it was the Wild West. We were all shocked at the amount of money that was being thrown around, and nobody knew that they were supposed to. And ignorance is no defense. But at the same time, it's just it was crazy, and it was so much so fast. And there's a dude that I know that I I won't point fingers and name names, but he got in a call with me and said essentially, out of ignorance, man, I feel like we broke capitalism, was what he said, because what he was doing was illegal. So it felt really easy, but it was I'm taking all this money. I've got my finger in the pie in the back end. I'm getting cuts of money. I'm getting cuts of money that are coming in, and nobody knows. And that's the best part, is that I'm running all this content and I'm getting paid up front. And he's like, yeah, something feels kind of gross about it. And it's like, oh, no shit, really? Okay. Funny you should mention.
Yeah, well, and I would say, and Noah, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, as you are one to do, that a lot of these guidelines, a lot of the maturation of the industry over the past 2-3 years is evidenced by these guidelines, right? Like Taffy just said, it was the Wild West a few years ago, right? And things that people get away with, or used to be able to get away with, wouldn't fly today.
Right. Yeah. So the reason that people used to get away with them, by the way, is not that it wasn't illegal. It's because the FTC wasn't paying attention.
Nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody knew. Nobody knew how much money was going to be in this industry. Nobody knew that this was going to be a legitimate avenue for people to make money. And so the FTC had a blind eye turned. So you'll see that the FTC really has updated these guidelines. They're not just for Twitch. They're not just for YouTube. They're for social media influencers, which up until even 3-4 years ago wasn't a real thing. It wasn't the big booming industry that it is now. And so we now have these, Instagram famous personalities. We have TikTok personalities. Speaking of, TikTok is rampant with FTC violations. So if you are creating content on TikTok and other people on TikTok, make sure you tell your friends to get a lawyer, because most of them are in violation.
Okay, boomer.
Hey, Taffy's old.
What? Why? Is it all the same stuff? Out of curiosity, because I don't TikTok at all, because
so what they're doing, what you're seeing a lot on TikTok is you're seeing a lot of young content creators in high school and whatnot that are getting, like, for example, reached out to by Acme Company. And so they're creating a video that is clearly endorsing Acme Company. They're using a product, or they're saying, man, I really love this. And they're not disclosing it at all.
But
anywhere.
I don't know what you're talking about, because Acme Company does so well. If you really need to kill a Roadrunner, they're your go-to company.
Right, exactly.
I got that reference.
Yeah.
That was a really good reference, but unfortunately, most people in this chat don't get it because you're old. And so, but if Acme Company is sponsoring you, you need to disclose it, and most people on TikTok are not.
So,
in fact, go ahead.
No,
I was going to say.
Finish your thought.
In fact, this you need to know when you need to disclose, and basically, it's if you have any financial interests, any employment interests, personal or family relationship to whoever's paying you to do whatever it is, you've got to disclose it. So again, that is a financial interest. You're getting paid a certain amount. An employment interest. This is my boss. A personal interest. I own this company. Or family interest. My brother created this thing. That is, if you have that kind of relationship with the brand, you've got to disclose it 100% of the time. So what's interesting is you're seeing on Twitch and YouTube a lot of sponsorships where there's just a straight financial interest. So, hey, I paid $400 to do this. Or you're seeing an employment interest. So new companies are creating stream teams. And a lot of those stream teams are actually organized as an employment relationship. So instead of 1099ing their creators, they're actually sending them W-2s and signing them up for monthly payments.
Quick aside, those employment contracts, they're all written very well, right? There's no issues at all?
No, they're horrible.
Oh, okay. Moving on.
And so they're written by people who don't understand the video gaming industry. And so those personal and family relationships are pretty obvious. Now, we're not talking like your 20th cousin 6 times removed. Like if you have to spit in a cup to figure out if you're related to that person, don't worry about it. You're fine. But now if like it's your brother down the street that you talk to all the time, then definitely you have to disclose that.
So immediate family, brother, sister, parent, grandparent, child, kind of a thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Or grandfather, somebody that you regularly keep contact with.
And Taffy, you were gonna say, sorry?
Yeah, I've actually got a question. All right, so Noah, let's say you put on your lawyer hat and a client walks in and says, Acme showed up and they offered me $1,000 to mention their anvils in my content. In your perfect world, because God knows there are some flimsy ass ways that we throw out, oh, well, I disclosed, because we're still figuring it out too. In your perfect world, what does the perfect disclosure look like? Because you get hashtag ad in a tweet, hashtag sponsored put up at, like, Twitch for a real long time was not good about putting a hand in people's backs and telling them to declare content. So,
Taffy, I love you because you just put the T there, and I'm just like ready.
I'm curious because I know that my series of, like, I always try to do something, but I look back on it and go, wow, that's real hopscotch. I got through there.
Let me make it very simple for y'all. If you have to disclose, then you have to disclose with reference to the site of the product and the sounds you're making with reference to it. Very easy, sight and sound. So, for example, if I am watching your stream, Taffy, then I need to be able to see that you are sponsored. Because, for example, if I'm watching you on mute, then I need to know that you're sponsored. If, like, for example, you lift up Acme cup, like a Madrinas cup, I know you're sponsored by Madrinas. So if you hold up a Madrinas can, I need to be able to see that you're sponsored by them. However, if I'm not actively looking at you and you're just talking about Madrinas, I need to hear that you're sponsored by Madrinas, which is unique for Twitch streamers because you have to do this periodically through the stream. You can't just do it once.
Right.
And so with site, what's interesting is under these FTC guidelines and some of the comments surrounding them since they were even just re-released very recently, a couple weeks ago, is that it is not enough, and this is lawyer interpretation, it is not enough to just disclose a sponsorship in the description of a YouTube video or in the panels below your stream. It is not enough just to have your Nightbot saying, hey, I'm sponsored by Acme Company every 20 minutes. You need to have something on your screen that says sponsored by Acme Company. And you need to say, I'm sponsored by Acme Company.
Does it have to be explicit as I am sponsored by, or is it simply an ad on the screen, like as an overlay? Is that sufficient?
So an overlay is great, because if you're going to pull a clip from the stream, keep in mind, if you download something and re-upload a highlight video, that sponsored in the chat and your panels are going to be gone. So as long as you can see it in an overlay or something, you're good to go. Make sure it's prominent and not hidden behind things. So for example, the common way we see this is with a Snapchat endorsement. If you Snap or Instagram story or something out there that says, hey, you know what? Just got a new bike from New Bike Company. Super cool, right? Then you need to put hashtag ad prominently over top of that. So you can't hide it amongst a bunch of other hashtags, a bunch of other texts. That's also if you're doing sponsored tweets, because obviously you'll have sponsored tweets as part of sponsorship packages. You'll like say stream for an hour and then do one tweet. You can't do hashtag living my best life, hashtag bless up, hashtag ad, hashtag buy this stuff now. It's got to be prominent. It's got to be featured.
So let's take a step back, because I want to talk about how a sponsorship or advertisement relationship can exist and what vehicles that undertakes for the business and a broadcaster. So if we're talking game companies, direct compensation. So if they pay you, $1,000 to play their game for an hour, that counts, right?
Right. That's an easy one. If somebody pays you $1,000 to play their game, sponsored.
Okay. If you receive a royalty for game sales for the first week after you play it, does that create a relationship?
Financial interest, royalties, even if you don't actually end up receiving royalties, there's the chance that you could, and so you need to disclose it.
Okay. If someone gives you a game key.
If somebody gives you a free game key, you need to disclose that. And one of the questions I get all the time is, hey, what if that turns into my main game? Then, say, for example, a publisher reaches out to me on Twitter and gives me a game key. I need to say every single time I play that game, hashtag ad, I received this game for free, disclosing that relationship. Periodically, as if it were a full paid sponsorship.
Now, question for you then. If I then buy another copy of the game, am I precluded now from having to disclose that advertising?
That is going to be a very case-by-case basis. It depends on the value of the initial game, the difference in value. Say you get a special premium edition for free, but then you go and buy a regular edition or vice versa. I'd have to look at that specifically. But in general, I'm going to always say if you receive the game for free, you need to disclose it.
Okay, and one thing I want to say to the chat, feel free to ask us questions about various things. Remember, don't make them super specific to you, but feel free to ask those questions and we'll get to them at the end.
Yeah, I've already pulled at least one question from the Firewire from earlier.
I saw that.
Cool.
That. Don't worry, I'm monitoring it. I'm doing my hostly duties and not trolling Galen. Because that's what a lot of my energy goes towards. Because he's in chat trolling now, and he's asking, oh, are we in the same room? Shut up, Galen. No one likes you. That's why I'm now the host. So,
wait, Galen is in chat. Oh, sorry. I just ignored him.
So same thing with GameKey, though. If a chair company or a desk company sends you product, that creates a relationship, right?
Right, exactly.
Now, again, nuanced question here, right? Because a lot of this gets lost in the nuance of what you're actually doing, and I'm kind of putting Noah on the spot here with some of these questions I'm asking. So if I get sponsored by a desk company and my desk isn't shown on stream, do I have to disclose ad?
Yes, if you are using the desk in any way. For example, if you have a sit-stand desk, sorry, Taffy, this might seem like targeting, but this is just pretty obvious in some cases.
This was going to be my question, was that half of my office has been sent to me.
Right.
Hashtag humble flex, but like, half of my office has been sent to me either by viewers or by the companies. Like, one of the nice things about what we do is the fact that an overwhelming majority of the things around me have been given to me but here we are. Like I don't have an affiliate situation with DX Racer anymore, but my butt still sits in a $300 chair that they sent me for free. What, like 2.5 years ago now?
Yeah,
So
it's been 2.5 years.
It's still like every stream technically from the time that I got like my first, gift of like free headphones from a company should have been #ad as long as I was using that product over 3 years.
So basically, if you've received the product and it was kind of an open-ended thing, then yeah, definitely. So if you're playing a particular game in the afternoons, for example, you need to disclose it every single time that you got for free, almost #ad. Now with your chair, that is a harder thing to answer because yes, you had an official relationship with them, but what is the value of that now? And obviously can't go into attorney-client privilege stuff, but if
Right.
that relationship is formally ended, then you're no longer sponsored by them. So it's a nuanced situation, and it's a matter of active promotion and actively using things versus passively using them.
Okay. Now, we're still talking about this, how we create this sponsor relationship. What about an affiliate deal? So, I've got a link at the bottom of my stream. It links to Amazon, and I get, 5%, 2% of all sales. Is that...
So,
yep, go ahead.
I would say that Amazon Blacksmith. So right now you have the new Blacksmith extension, and this will bring us to a really good point. But I've actually spoken to several folks at Twitch about the Amazon Blacksmith extension because it does not conform to the FTC regulations, in my legal opinion. It does not disclose that you are going to be receiving direct benefit from purchases enough to conform to this. It doesn't explicitly say it. So that said, the FTC actually addressed stuff like that in these new guidelines and says, in most cases, such as with Instagram, with Twitch, with Mixer, whatever it be, their disclosure tools are not enough to comply with the guidelines. And so you need to comply with guidelines on your own and then use those tools as an additional supplement. So for example, if you're using Amazon Blacksmith for an Amazon affiliate code, you need to say, I'm affiliated with Amazon Blacksmith. I will be receiving a benefit from this. Please use it. It would be great. Instead of just having it sit there on the side of your screen.
Okay, well let's do something other than dragging Taffy then. Let's do this.
Yeah,
question.
That's the thing. Is like I'm sorry.
No.
That's fine. I'm also not going to reorganize how my this is all interesting to me, but there's also the part of me that's like this is interesting to me because it's not practical currently in its most current manifestation.
It's not
practical for me to have every stream since from the time that I've seen any sort of real monetary benefit that's not just tips or bits or subs. The moment that any company has taken interest in me as a brand, yeah, it's impractical to be like the first time you get a gift, you are a sponsored channel until you audit your office and go, well, I didn't pay for this and I didn't pay for this, and you clean house and go, man, I spent $1,000, but #ads off my stream.
Yeah, right.
Right. Well, because here's an interesting concept that just came to mind that's happening right now. Let's say you're playing a game called Call of Apex Modern Fortnite. Okay?
That was really elaborate. I hope you wrote that down.
That's really good. No, it's Call of Apex Modern Fortnite. I don't know how it just rolls off the tongue. But say you're actually playing like the Modern Warfare right now that everyone's playing. Some people were sponsored for that, right? And they're still playing it outside of the ad.
Right.
And so there's this unique kind of nuance that we're kind of talking about where I've seen broadcasters say like, okay, this hour is sponsored by the developer and this is the game we're playing. We were playing it before, just so you know, an ad's coming up, and we're out of the ad afterwards. And they'll do that maybe like I've seen 20, 30 minutes leading up to the sponsored content and 20, 30 minutes kind of after. And I don't know if they were doing that just kind of as a joke, as for comedic purposes in their stream, or were they actually CYAing? And so with that fact pattern, Noah, kind of just what are your thoughts on that? Is that sufficient, or do they have to, in hour 4 past the sponsored content, do they still have to disclose?
Right. So to truncate that and restate it a little bit,
yep.
If you were paid to play Call of Duty, and you continue to play it before and after, do you have to disclose it for the full time?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yep.
I would say yes. If you were otherwise not going to be playing it, then yes, you definitely do. Now, as we also get back into the if Call of Duty, gave you a key or something like that, or if you're a Call of Duty partner, you have to disclose that as well. Call of Duty doesn't really give keys unless you're a Call of Duty partner, and so in very rare cases that's not true. But so if you're playing it, yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did. And so
don't act like you did that. The bounty board did that for me.
I know they did.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching it.
That's it. I was just you said that like you got it. I was just making sure chat knew.
So chat, just full disclosure, because we're talking about disclosures. Taffy's one of my best friends in the world. So anyways, we don't just talk to clients like this. So you would need to disclose that before and after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what about, so we've talked, did I miss anything from the types of ways that sponsor broadcaster relationship can exist? We talked about direct pay, getting a key in advance.
I got one. Deals. What if you're at PAX East and G Fuel gives you a cup and you use it on stream?
And you're sponsored by G Fuel?
Yeah. Or no, if you're not sponsored by G Fuel, if G Fuel just gives you a free cup.
Is there? You just take swag and then it ends up on your stream.
Here's the question then, actually. Is there a de minimis exception?
Yes. We would argue that in certain cases there is de minimis, which basically means there's diminishing returns.
Not diminishing returns is that what they gave you basically has no value or very little value. So a shaker cup from G Fuel is like a $2, $3 thing, and they'll sell it to you for like 10. But
it really depends on, in this case, the intent with which it was given. So if you received a partner bag and they knew that you were going to be a partner, etc., I would disclose, I got this for free. Quite frankly, I wouldn't use it on stream. If you were just walking past a booth and they tossed you a free G Fuel shaker, then you're probably fine.
But if you are also sponsored by G Fuel, then that's a separate argument, right?
Right. If you're sponsored by G Fuel, you disclose that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
one other thing I came up with in kind of prepping for this show is in terms of how you could be compensated. If a game dev or someone flies you out for an event and you live stream from the event, you're not compensated in any other way. They don't put up your room. They're like, we'll pay for your plane ticket. You pay for the room. Disclosure required?
Yes, because you receive some sort of financial benefit.
Yeah, because they pay for the ticket.
Yeah. What's So I've actually got a question for Taffy. What have been some of the interesting challenges that you've had as a streamer trying to comply with these kinds of requirements? Obviously, this is actually not something you and I have ever discussed. Where has it been a weird line? And obviously, please don't admit to any crimes.
Sure. I mean, I'll do my best. I mean, the biggest thing was in the early years. The early years where I was just kind of like, I was dragging along behind it, just trying to lay track in front of the train as we built, because there was no business school or ethics school or legal course, crash course that they put you through when YouTube hit its golden era. And for example, we have all these podcasts now and people who are taking a vested interest in, for example, making sure that streamers and YouTubers pay their taxes,
right?
Because they just weren't for a while. And at one point, YouTuber X started looking for a lot of sponsored content in my past because he realized that he hadn't paid some $700,000 in taxes. Like that's what he owed.
Who?
And I mean, like just nobody knew. We were like, we were a bunch of kids. I was the 30-year-old windy lady to a bunch of lost boys, just trying to figure out. I didn't know what I was looking at, but I knew we were missing stuff, and I knew that we were missing things because I was just like, you know what? I'm old enough at this point to kind of be a grown-up, and so I feel like there are responsibilities that we're not meeting. That if my mom was here, she'd be yelling at me. I don't know what they are, but I can tell you what the shape of the hole is, and.
That's terrifying.
You knew there was that unknown somewhere out there.
Right. It's just one of those things where it's like you put together your thing from IKEA and it kind of looks right, but you got a bag of parts and you're just like, this shouldn't be here. And so this is what it was, is like we had put together this thing where people were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year all of a sudden. And I felt like I had a bag of parts.
Right. Every day you were straying further from God's light.
Yeah, exactly. And I just like the farther we got from hobbyists, the more scary it got.
Once it got real.
Yeah, it started to get real. When you heard people saying, I owe six figures in taxes, it got crazy. And so that was the point where I felt like I had already been through that ringer and had realized things, and had started to research on my own, and had started to talk to lawyers and realize FTC compliance was a real thing, and that people were going to get smacked. And then the CSGO Lotto thing went down.
You want to talk about what that was?
The TLDR of it, because I don't want to talk about it like I knew anything more than what you just read by Googling it, is that T. Martin and Pro Syndicate were essentially accused of going into their content and saying, we stumbled on this website, csgolotto.com. You can go here and wager your skins in Counter-Strike against other people. Look, I'm doing it. Oh my God, I just won so many thousands of dollars in skins. And when anybody bothered to scratch the surface, it turned out that they were both owners of the site, and that in certain instances, it was suspected that the coin flip instances of putting skins against skins, which was like, is this gambling? Also was heavily weighted in their back end algorithm to give them wins to create better content.
There were all sorts of unique industry things that came from there and branched into different directions. But essentially, they had a financial interest in the well-being of the company, and they were promoting it. So whether you own it, if you're promoting the company, you still have an advertising relationship in place, right?
That was actually the first time that I felt like content creators on the whole were mentioned in like mainstream media in a negative light, because you had like the feel-good stories of like, Adam C. Nanners Montoya does an interview with CNN talking about how he makes $100,000 a year playing video games.
Louis Caliber's killing it.
Right. Like, and so you had like the feel good niche pieces, but this was the first time where like CNN was running, live coverage of like, these guys are going to court.
Yep.
Yeah. This was back in the days when you were doing stuff with Machinima too, right?
I don't think they overlapped. I think that like Machinima left an impact crater a couple years before this happened.
Gotcha.
Like not full blown wiped out, but at the point where it wasn't really socially relevant anymore. But it was that was the place where it got real. And I feel like at this point it's a relevant enough thing that if you're not at least in a place where you could plead that you were trying to be in compliance and you just didn't meet the checklist, like I feel like if you are relevant enough to you're being given gifts, you're being given codes, you're being given money, you're being given product, you're being flown out to places, and you don't do this, it almost feels like it has to be because of just sort of like willful shrugging it off, because the CSGO Lotto thing was the thing that almost made it was like trying to ignore the sun. It was like, hey, look up there. And it's like, oh, I don't see anything. What do you mean? I never heard about this. Like there's no way to dodge it at that point.
Right. So on that though, Noah, can you speak to, is there a difference between a quote unquote gift and actual creating that relationship that we've been talking about? Is there any difference from, oh, I know this person at Game Studio and they gift me a game key with no expectation?
Sponsored, by the way, I'm just thirsty.
With no expectation that I played on stream though. Is there a difference there?
Right. So basically, if you receive something as a gift from a company because of your position as a broadcaster, you have to disclose it. And that kind of goes towards one of the questions we received in chat, which was if you received a key before you were a professional streamer or a full-time streamer or a streamer in general, do you still have to disclose that? And my answer generally would probably be not. And that's not in every specific case. But for example, if I am not a full-time streamer, and by any stretch of the imagination, I do it once a year for St. Jude. And if I were to receive a key right now, and then all of a sudden next year I started streaming full time, and that became my main game, then I receive the key now. I don't need to disclose that at this point. Now, if somebody knows you're about to make it, or if they're setting you up, or they've talked to people about your personality, and they anticipate you're going to become an influencer at some point, then yeah, you do need to disclose that.
Well, and so this gets us to another question in the chat from Dizzily. Hey, how's it going? Does that include key mailer game keys? So
I am not sure what he means by that. What do you mean by that?
So, go ahead, Taffy.
Oh, there are services that you can belong to that basically the whole point of the website is to match game devs with streamers who might be willing to play.
Yeah, no, I would definitely disclose that.
Because it's kind of a shotgun approach to creating the relationship, right?
Yeah,
like,
no,
you need
it is.
Content, I need a game. Here we go.
Yeah, because you're going to be promoting that game. You are receiving a direct benefit for you being a streamer. Yeah, definitely 100% have to disclose key mailer stuff.
Okay. What I want to do is I want to run through a few more things.
I've got a couple of things that I think I can parlay straight into.
I was going to save your voice. So here's the thing. A couple other things you have to do. You can't talk about an experience with a product you haven't tried. So you can't be like, oh, I love Herman Miller chairs.
I mean, that makes sense to me as a not garbage person. But like, you know what I mean? But like, I didn't know that. I didn't know that for a fact.
Well, to comment on that, and I think you're going right where I wanted to go, Ernest.
Yep.
Is that if you, for example, you'll see a lot of people that are new to the industry saying, "Hey, can you promote what I've got? I can't get you a product right now, or it's going to take 2 weeks to get to you. But hey, I want to start right now." You can't promote that. You can't promote that and say, I love it. You can't talk about your experiences with it. That doesn't mean you can't talk about it. You can speculate and say, based on what I've heard, what am I sitting in? Vertigear. Based on what I've heard, Vertigear is probably their great chairs. And obviously, I have not sat in one, but the minute I do, I'll let you know my official opinion. That said, if you have sat in a terrible chair, you can't say it was awesome.
Right. You can't say lying. If you got a product and you thought it was trash, you can't say it's terrific. So if I got sponsored to play Call of Apex, Modern Fortnite, and these 12-year-olds are just clapping me, right? And I'm just malding. These are all Zoomer terms. I feel like, am I doing this right? I feel like I'm doing this right. You can't then say
this
it's
is
great. I love
to me.
this
I
game.
didn't understand half what you just said.
It's fantastic. And so basically you can't get a product, do a thing, and say that it's great when you hate it. It has to be true confessional.
That puts you into an interesting place because you'll see a lot of these contracts say that you can't disparage the product. So if, for example, you are being paid to try Acme product and Acme sends you a energy drink and then you say, Acme energy drink, you try it on stream and it is terrible. The most you can really say based on your contractual obligation and the FTC is, this is a drink.
This is liquid.
This is liquid that I consumed.
Or can you go something like, this flavor isn't for me. I'll try some other flavors later. It's like, it's a very fine line. It's not disparaging, right?
I wouldn't even say this flavor is not for me. And that's because you have to keep it simple and unambiguous. So
I could teach a 101 course on this. I have not had to do this very often, thank God. Yeah. But with the introduction of the bounty board, like you go in on stuff.
Ooh, give us the B-roll, Taffy. Give us the one of like, how do I do this?
I mean, okay, so it's all sight unseen, right? So like a lot of stuff is like, yeah, sure. If somebody says, hey, do you want to do a bounty board collection for MTGA? Yeah, of course. I'm down to play Magic on stream. That sounds great. But 90% of the time, it's not that. If you're doing game stuff and not doing like a commercial or a trailer, they don't give you a key and let you test drive the game before you get in there. So a game that I will not name that may or may not have given a bunch of people I know money to play it was not polished and was not particularly good at what it was trying to accomplish. And I know of some people who did not do a good job with their contractual obligation not to disparage the content. And my thing was, Yaris, it's a car was a campaign back in the day. My Yaris, it's a car moment was, It's free to play this weekend, so why don't you download it and tell me what you think? And it became very nod and a wink between me and chat. But it that's the thing, is that the big conversation that I've had with other content creators is Matthew McConaughey doesn't get to cash the check from Lincoln and then get to the end of the commercial and go, but I drive a Ford, and then just wink and walk off drinking wild turkey. Like, he's,
I feel like he can, because have you looked at Matthew McConaughey?
Well, maybe he can, but nobody's mistaken me with Matthew McConaughey yet, so I don't get the luxury
you
of
drink enough wild turkey, maybe.
Right, yeah.
This is sponsored by
Wild Turkey to get this 8-pack abs going again, but...
Oh my God.
One last thing I want to say, and I think we can go to questions unless there's anything else you wanted to cover, Noah, explicitly, but you also can't make scientific claims about a product or that it would like treat some health condition. So you can't say your Vertigare chair will fix your sciatica.
All right. So here's where this is dramatic for what we're doing. CBD is a huge thing right now. CBD, in most cases, there's no scientific proof to back up any of the claims that people have about CBD oil. Sorry, flame me on Twitter if you want, but there's no scientific evidence to back that stuff up. And if you get sponsored by a CBD oil company, of which there's at least 4 sponsoring streamers right now, you cannot say that this will cure your aches and pains. You cannot say this will calm you down. The most you can say basically is that I have CBD oil and I use it for things.
Can you allude to studies that exist? Because I know that some people will be like, well, can I do something?
No, because if you are making a scientific claim, then if that sponsor can't back it up, then you can't back it up. You can't do your own research. You can, if it's not valid and not trusted and respected, you can't do it. Gotcha. So, all you people hawking CBD oil, stop.
Okay. So before we get to questions, I have a quick aside. So, like, say you have an edible and it's like a cookie and it's like backed with like THC, and you've got to like figure out how to split this thing to be 1 dose, right? Like, how do you accurately do that without making yourself actually go crazy? Like, do you just do the gummies then? You just do the gummy, or you just have 2 gummies if you want to have it? You know what? We'll talk about this off air. We'll get into questions. All right. So
I live in a state where that's illegal. So.
All right. So our first question up from, I don't think we answered the Firewire questions, correct?
No, we didn't. So let's hit them up.
Okay. So
Taffy, these are in Discord.
Yep. So I'm curious about sub-only giveaways. Apparently, there's a lot of legal stuff around this because it technically counts as gambling. So this is outside.
Sub-only giveaways are not allowed.
Yep. This is outside of the FTC discussion, but from a lawyer, not allowed, illegal.
Sub-only giveaways, not allowed. You cannot have a requirement for entry. That's why you see on all of these things,
no purchase
is necessary.
Yeah.
Sub-only giveaways, not allowed. Subscriber luck, very questionable. But sub-only giveaways, definitely not allowed.
Okay, so from Proteus Glitch, the flip side to the conversation about sponsored content is if you put #sponsored to be safe while not entirely sponsored, can that be problematic if you aren't sponsored by the company? So he's asking, like, hey, you want to try to broach having a relationship with a company and say you're sponsored when you're not. What issues do you run into that?
Here's your practical look at this. If I am streamer and somebody's given me a game key, just to keep it easy. Streamer, somebody gives me a game key. I will say #ad. And if the company gets upset at me and says, no, we didn't sponsor you, I would much rather the company come after me civilly than the FTC come after me, because I'd rather fight the company than the government. Because the government is harder to fight.
So, quote Noah Downs, I'd rather be sued by a company.
I'd rather be sued by a company than the government. So,
government's terrifying.
Yeah. Government is terrifying.
It's kind of that statement, right? That kind of unpacking that statement that we probably all know as a kid, like, hey, don't make a federal case out of it.
Yeah.
The reason that you don't want to make it a federal case is because there are like rules of procedure that are nightmarish and very costly to go through, right? Did I get that right? Yeah. Did I say that right, Noah?
Yeah.
I was in a family that fought the IRS for something that we didn't. We took advice from a bad lawyer and didn't do anything wrong, but it put us on the hook for it. And we spent, dudes were hired and retired at the IRS for the number of years that we fought them over like 30 grand.
for the record, this is not this before I represented him.
Yeah, this happened when I was like 8.
Well,
but it was resolved when I graduated high school. Like it was resolved. It was like 11 years. It's the government keeps on. The people chasing you down can die, and they will replace them with new people to chase you down.
For like a timeline, I'm working an audit for an influencer, and it is at year 2, and it just it takes time, and they're not going to just let it lie. Like it takes time.
Yeah, the government's not going to forget. Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the government is. Yeah, they're not big into not getting paid.
So yeah, if it comes down to Epic suing me versus the government if it comes down to Epic suing you for
Call of
maybe
Apex,
implying
Fortnite.
that they paid you some money after they gave you a free game key. By the way, we haven't talked about getting free skins.
Let's put that at the end because that's like a quick side. So moving on, next question. Is there a difference between receiving it due to a personal relationship versus a professional one? I would say no.
No difference. That goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where if you're getting a financial benefit or a personal and family benefit.
Okay, so. And then from Adorkablem, the wonderful moderator that makes all of these shows. Okay, fine. I see it somewhere else, but Rini, wonderful person who makes all these shows go. What about unlocking giveaways that everyone can enter and get? Is that okay? Like, for example, if we hit X sub goal, we'll have a giveaway for Y thing.
So if we're looking at, so basically, I think here is, hey, if like you said, if we hit X sub goal, we unlock Y thing. I think that's questionable. It's enough that I don't know that anybody's going to crack you on it, but technically I think that could be problematic given the no purchase necessary. Because there's definitely purchase necessary. If you don't purchase, we don't
to the giveaway. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
From the 0 Hour Hero, genuine question: how does someone handle advertising a partnership or sponsorship for a product that isn't out yet, so they couldn't possibly have actually used said product since it is not released? Well,
then you can only speculate.
Well, and sometimes just because it hasn't been released to the public at large, you may get an advanced copy or
like a prototype.
A prototype,
right.
Yeah.
If you received an advanced copy and you've played it, then you can give a genuine opinion on it. If the product isn't out, for example, if I'm about to get the newest MeUndies, and I hear that they've got like balloons in case I jump into the water and want to float, then I can only speculate about how wonderful that must feel. And I haven't tried them, so I can't talk about it.
And we just got rated, so thank you very much for the
rating.
Hey,
thank you, Raiders.
It's a Daddy Zach raid.
Daddy Zach is in the house.
Okay, so Noah, one question, and I was queuing you up for it, was about game keys from companies. Specifically, I asked you this earlier in prep, was what happens if I get a key for The Sims from EA, and then I later play Jedi Fallen Order? Is there an argument? Is there a gray area there? And go ahead on your point.
So if I were to play a game from the same publisher or developer, I would say that you probably do not need to disclose that. For example, if I play Battlefront, this just make it very simple. If I play Battlefront from EA, and then the next day go play Jedi Fallen Order. I think there's an element of having to disclose a little bit, because if for some reason you would not have played Fallen Order without having played Battlefront, received that free key from EA, then you would likely have to disclose that. Now, that's being overly cautious. I'll fully disclose it. I think I'm being overly cautious.
And that's the default gear though for a professional, is overly cautious. Like, hey,
right.
You should probably be doing this.
Right, exactly. So I would say that you should definitely consider disclosing that. However, if like a year ago I played Battlefront, I got it for free, and then now I'm playing Fallen Order, then you don't have to disclose that.
Gotcha. Okay. We got someone who got timed out, and I'm trying to piece together the question. I think it'll be our last one is, should there be disclosure for trends like this? And it's, I think just briefly viewing it, it's like a fake review, 5-star type thing.
Ew.
Oh. I don't really,
I think that, I would argue, that's like a whole different can of worms that's outside of the topic area for this show.
It's a little bit out.
Yeah.
I mean, Hardware Barbecue, thank you for the question. It's a little bit out of scope for this, but if you're posting a fake review, then that's just fraud. I mean,
I had a company offer me, company offer me hardware in exchange for a glowing Amazon review at one point, and that skeeved me out pretty bad.
Yeah, I remember that. Another thing that I get a question about occasionally, and I know Ernest, you might have been teeing me up for it, but say I'm, Epic grants me all of the skins for the latest season of Fortnite, and I play Fortnite on stream anyways, and I'm using those skins. You got to disclose that those are given to you for free by Epic, because they're going to definitely receive a benefit from, like, for example, Dr. Lupo or somebody playing Fortnite using those skins.
And I think that actually occurred on some League of Legends broadcasters. They got given special accounts where they got access to the whole store and could use any skin.
And yeah, you have to disclose that you receive that skin for free.
Now, what if it's a temporary? Like they pull the account back. Like it's like you can have this account for an hour to play the game, but it's a free to play game.
You had it. You had the benefit of it. Yep.
Okay. Very good. So, without further ado, then no other questions really jumping out at me. I want to get Taffy to his gourmet Chinese dinner.
It's been sitting on my floor for the last hour. I'm just staring at it.
So everyone thank him. at him on Twitter and say thank you for doing the show and helping us out. But Taffy, what have you got going on? Where can they find you? What have you got going? What's happening? What's popping?
Twitch.tv/McLaffyTaffy. I'm right now just playing The Binding of Isaac in the morning and Legend of Bumbo, for which I was provided a free key by Edmund McMillan, the game dev.
Thank you.
During the afternoons, but I am genuinely enjoying myself. What was supposed to be one day has turned into a week of me playing this game, and I don't really feel compelled to stop. Otherwise, I'm snarky and occasionally funny on Twitter at both.
Shout the YouTube out. Shout the YouTube.
Oh God, youtube.com/Taffy's Man Cave if you want to see videos from back when Machinima was relevant. God, I forgot all about. I mean, I didn't forget about it, but I can't remember the last time I actively hawked the YouTube channel. $13.25 in 2019.
Woo, woo. All right,
most of it demonetized.
Noah, tell us what you got going on. What's good? What's happening? Where can people find you?
So I'm an attorney. I work at the law firm Morrison Rothman, incredible law firm, video game law firm. So you can find me there on their website. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/MyLawyerFriend. I am your lawyer friend once you hire me. And you can also find me at Instagram, my.lawyerfriend, wherever your favorite products are sold. No, I'm kidding. And I'm also just around in case you need me.
Perfect. And I am Ernest Jones. I am a CPA who helps broadcasters, influencers, and basically anyone who needs tax help. So that's me. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully the show wasn't too scuffed. I'm going to go ahead and try to mute everyone and get to the closing screen. But have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Take it easy, y'all.
Bye.